Hey everybody, I am here today in the Anna Maria Textiles booth and I'm so excited to be here with Anna Maria Parry.
Hello.
And we're here in celebration of the launch of her new fabric division with Northcott Fabrics to talk about all of the fabric collections that are coming out, the thread set.
I'm coming out with it, before it, all around it. Yeah.
So let's
what do you want to
about,
know?
Let's talk about Anna Maria Textiles.
Okay.
And where you're at and all the excitement and huge congratulations.
Thank you so much. So, well, here we are in the inaugural booth of Anna Maria Textiles, as Erin said, is my new division. And whether I'm new to you or you've been following me for years, you'll see all my trademark color kind of present, like my DNA intact in the Anna Maria Textiles division. I've just been given such a beautiful opportunity to sort of expand the range of fabrics that I offer, including the scales, the colors, the shipping style, and we're going to begin shipping all of the first collections in March through June. So everything in this booth is going to be rolling out in spring and summer next year. And in fact, the very first collection that we're going to roll out is called Indelible. And when I was speaking with Erin, I think at QuiltCon early this year about what's next for us with Aurifil, I thought, you know what, we need to wait because I really want to partner some threads with my new collection of basics called Indelible, which you can see is like really sunshiny and rich, but it also has some nice earthy shades as well. And I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to choose a palette for your 8-weight threads. So surrounded by quilts, they can hear about that other times, other places, but I'm so stoked about what we did with Aurifil this time. So this is my Indelible box of threads. There's 20 spools. For those of you that did the thread labs, you would be familiar with what you received in it, where I used just the really bright shades of Indelible. These are all the threads here. So you can see I have some of the more muted shades along with the really bright ones that you're used to seeing for me. And you can see what a gorgeous sort of symbiosis is happening between the thread and the fabrics. When I first started theorizing, you know, what I was going to be doing with these threads, I thought, well, for sure, I'm going to start playing with them in my hand quilting. I've always used Aurifil, or at least for like the last 10 years, I've been using Aurifil 12 weight for hand quilting, and the 8 weight, just as good, if not better for me, because I really love that stitch that you can see very well. So one of the first things I did was start hand quilting the Indelible quilt with the threads here. So probably a challenge on camera, but we'll be sharing a lot more of that soon. But what I also really love about the 8-way is just right off the spool, it's so perfect to do embroidery. And so this is a recent stitchery that I did for the Thread Labs subscribers called Tokariki Bouquet, which I was stitching on my belated honeymoon on the island of Tokariki. But I chose mostly the bright colors. I used 10 different shades for this. And like, I honestly just love the texture and the ease of just pulling it right off the spool instead of separating strands. Like, it's absolutely perfect.
The 8-weight is roughly equivalent to
about 3 strands. So when I'm doing embroidery with a 6-strand floss, and I've used lots of brands over the years, I tend to embroider most with half the 6 strands, so like 3 of them. And I find the 8-weight is pretty similar to that and how much like coverage it allows. But I also just really like the additional texture that the twist of the 8-weight has. It has this sort of vintage appeal for me that I really like, and it catches light in such a nice way. So even if you're using the same color of thread stitching like a satin stitch, if you just change the directions of the satin stitch, it catches light in such a different way. You know, you can see like in this little section right here of those lavender petals that like the way it catches light just by altering the direction of your stitch, I think is just so beautiful. So yeah, I'm officially obsessed.
Love that.
Yeah.
So then also, I mean, so you're working with this in hand quilting, and you're working with this in embroidery, and obviously it matches perfectly with Indelible, but it really pulls on some colors from the other collections that you have coming.
Yes,
Anna Maria Textiles next year. So even just where we're sitting right now,
we're sitting
with this beautiful yarn dye.
Yeah, look how good it looks on there. Yeah. So the way that I'm structuring the collections for Anna Maria Textiles is we're shipping something every single month. So a collection is going to ship every month, but every collection has 3 colorways. So that's just sort of like the family of color that's going to be in Anna Maria Textiles for all collections going forward. So we always have vintage colorations, which are kind of like a little more sun faded and soft, sometimes a little groovy, you know, and then we always have cheery, which is very bright and poppy and optimistic looking, and then we have lush, which is really rich and kind of inky and jewel tones. And in fact, on the wall behind me is a quilt that's made entirely out of the lush palette of 5 different collections. So there's this sort of like these traits that are run through all of the collections that sort of help the shops organize the collections in their store, as well as kind of shares with quilters who might find it challenging to combine lots of different styles and colors of prints. It sort of is a bit of a recipe for how I like to mix color together, which is really, it's like the number one question I get when I'm doing classes or even in a setting like this. People say, well, I never would have put this and this in the same quilt. Like, how did you decide to do that, you know? And but they love it, you know, but they don't feel like this and this goes. But so this little prescription of palette is sort of like my little cheat sheet of how to sort of build an interesting palette, you know, that really just has a kind of like a mood or a personality more than a matching set of colors. So I was really kind of thinking about, I was in mid-progress on all of the fabrics when I was choosing this collection. So I think most of the time when we've done collections, they've been quite bright or rich, right? And so I was trying to hit all the notes of like the softer tones as well with Indelible. So I like to call it like soulful color, you know, there's like a little bit of everything. So yeah, just like us, right? We have so many sides. Yes, we have so many sides to our personalities, you know, and so many moods. So yeah, I feel like this works incredibly well with just about everything that we're doing with the division. Yeah. So obviously I'm obsessed with texture, right? So we have these yarn dyes that are all woven a little bit differently. The structures are different, and I love them just with themselves, but I also love them combined with printed goods. So, and of course this texture is kind of like my real serious happy place. So yeah, we have some sneaky plans up our sleeves.
There will be some exciting things coming down.
Yeah.
But then this is, so it really is, it's our debut collaboration with you, with Anna Maria Textiles. So this is obviously a big deal and a huge departure. So what does that mean for you to be coming forward and putting yourself, like diving right into this world, and that you've been in for so long, but this is absolutely
kind of a different role, or at least additional roles. Exactly. So I've always had freedom to design in the way that I like. But I've always sort of done it in a bit of a formula. Each of my collections has, you know, the mix of the feature print and then the medium scales and then the tonals and the geometrics. But now I can sort of take each of those categories of fabrics and kind of like finish each of them more fully in what I offer the shops. So an entire collection like Indelible is that tonal, and these are reorderable. And in fact, for future launches, I've already designed like a fully neutral palette of these prints. So, and kind of a highlighter palette too, that's quite light and bright. And so I also get to decide how these things get delivered to stores, what order they get delivered, which collection is coming first, second, third, you know. And I'm sort of using all my experience as a shop owner to really kind of pin down like an appropriate dose of what to ship when, and even how they sit on the shelf together, you know, with those 3 different palettes. Did our SKU numbers for each of the palettes, like all the ones that are in the vintage colorway have a V at the end of the SKU number, you know, so it's like a little clue what family they belong in if you kind of want to follow that recipe. But yeah, like Northcott have given me loads of freedom, but along with that, an incredible amount of support to really kind of follow my vision, which is incredible. So it's about time, right?
Yes. It's, I mean, this is what everybody wants to see too, because it's a celebration of your style and what you do, and you know, and people eat that right up. I know that we all do, and we all love seeing the things that you're up to. So
thank you.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, it's so fun to have you along with me on all the adventures, and this one is especially great.
Thank you for letting us come along for the ride.
Course.
Because this, and also, you know, for people who are watching who may not know this, Anna's collection of 8-weight is only our second release of 8-weight thread.
Right.
So it's a brand new thread weight for us. It's an 8-weight 2-ply, and it was really important to have her involved and be a part of that launch.
Yeah, thank you.
Because of the work that
Well,
you
I'm
do.
very honored. Like, I've always loved handwork. Most people know me for the fabrics and the quilts and all of it, but handwork came at first in my life. And you know, I've written 4 books. I have a new book, Blueprint Quilting, that's out this month. But my third book, actually, the last book I wrote was actually a full book on handwork and embroidery and crewel and cross stitch and needlepoint. And so, like, that is so much my world as well. And I kind of feel like everything's coming a little bit more for full circle in my career and what I'm able to offer, where I can sort of use all my interests and sensibilities in a way that's meaningful and kind of approachable for people that like what I do. So 8-weight has come along at a perfect time in what I'm offering, and I'm really looking forward to more collaborations, more things like this, and very potentially packaged up with a little bow. It's easy for stitchers and quilters to buy in their stores. So
Stay tuned for that.
stay tuned for more. Watch this space.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Really love talking to you always, and we're just really excited to have this out in the world. So go and find the threads now, and then, you know, come and find all of these fabrics starting in March.
Starting in March.
Indelible will be in March.
March. And a QuiltCon a little bit early.
Yeah. So you should come to QuiltCon.
You should come to QuiltCon. See you there.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Erin.
much.